We'll swing across the gap one by one while everyone records. Ada's heart sank. The gap was wide and the floor below was covered in jagged debris. "What if the rope snaps?" she asked. "It won't," Ibuka said confidently. "I tested it myself." One by one, the kids swung across the gap, cheering as they landed on the other side. When it was Ada's turn, her hands trembled as she gripped the rope. As she swung, the rope suddenly slipped from the beam. She screamed, but luckily one of the boys caught her before she hit the floor. "See? Nothing to worry about," Ibuka said, laughing. But Ada had had enough. She ran out of the warehouse, vowing never to follow Ibuka again. One day during a school assembly, the principal announced that a student had been injured after attempting a dangerous stunt they saw online. Parents were invited to a meeting to address the growing influence of social media on children. Mr. and Mrs. Nuoka immediately connected the dots. That night, they sat Ada down and gently probed her about her recent behavior. After some hesitation, Ada broke down in tears and revealed everything: how Ibuka had pressured her into dangerous stunts, and how scared she was to refuse him. The Nuokas were horrified. They decided to inform the school and the Okafors. But when they spoke to Mr. and Mrs. Okafor, they were met with disbelief. "Not my son," Mrs. Okafor said indignantly, her voice rising. "Ibuka is just a boy. Boys like to experiment. He would never do anything to put himself in danger." Mr. Okafor, visibly irritated, added, "Perhaps Ada is just misunderstanding things. Our son is confident and adventurous, not reckless. Let's not overreact." Mrs. Nuoka sighed, trying to reason with them. "We've already noticed some strange behavior, and these stunts are getting more dangerous. This isn't about accusing Ibuka, it's about protecting him." But the Okafors wouldn't hear it. "We know our son better than anyone," Mrs. Okafor snapped, her tone final. That evening, Ada overheard her parents talking. "What else can we do?" Mrs. Nuoka asked, her voice filled with concern. "If the Okafors won't listen, Ibuka is going to get himself or someone else hurt." Mr. Nuoka sighed deeply. "We've done our part by warning them and the school. Let's just keep an eye on Ada and make sure she doesn't get dragged into this again." But Ada couldn't shake the fear that something terrible was going to happen. One afternoon, Ada was walking past the school sports field when she overheard Ibuka and a group of boys huddled together. She crept closer to hear what they were saying. "We'll climb the old water tank behind the school," Ibuka said excitedly. "I've seen it done online. If we film it, people will go crazy over the video." One of the boys hesitated. "What if something goes wrong?" "Nothing will go wrong," Ibuka replied confidently. "We just need to be careful and